Hey, how's it going, everybody? Lawler here. We got some exciting news to talk about as MENA defends their region. That's right. Objectively second or third best region in the world. Had their LCQs go down this weekend, and boy, was it jam-packed full of drama. If you guys didn't get to tune in or don't know what I'm talking about, we have 4 regions over the next 4 weeks that are competing for a chance to go to the World Championship through the last chance qualifier. Think of it as a Open 7 event where teams will go through another regional. Everybody signs up down to 192, down to 32. 32 play in Swiss, 16 make it out. They then play in a double elimination. After the double elimination, they play in a final single elimination bracket with a little bit of a weighted seed. Jumping through to this weekend, starting on the previous Friday, technically Thursday for MENA, we had 16 teams that played on Thursday. This is the 16 favorites: Team Rock, Alcadzia, Vision, and Vicious, probably from the region. 100 also very good. For those that don't know, Dark also plays under a different name. He plays under Muhammad as well. So a lot of people I don't think were familiar with 100 who had a pretty solid results. And then the 2 that everybody was paying attention to, Synergy because of the imports, as well as TRT with the imports. Taking a step back, as you guys heard me talk about last week, there was a situation between TRT and Kadzia. Kadzia basically said, hey, we have Dr. Known and his former teammates Ops and Nush, because they were all 14 when they came in and played under the Dawn name before they actually got picked up by Team Rock. Long story short, Kadzia used to be a mixture of some of these players and some of these players. What ended up happening is Kadzia goes, you know what, for the last chance qualifier, we want the best 3 moving forward. And again, I don't know what the details are. There's a possibility that Dr. Known was like, hey, I want to play with these 2, but Tox and Toxic were like, well, I want to play with Raziers. And Kadzia goes, you know what? Rather than, and this is just me trying to be very nice about it, I'm going to assume Kadzia was just like, you know what? Why don't you guys just play with those rosters? Whoever wins gets to keep the org. These guys won. That's old news. So the conversation then becomes, hey, import teams coming into MENA. You can't hack it in your own region. You're afraid you're going to lose to Mates or NIP or whatever it is. So you're going to try to go to MENA on 100 ping and do it the easy route. What ended up happening was kind of best case scenario. So as we go through the double elimination, Team Reds, for those that are unfamiliar, is actually sleeping. I don't know why they switched or don't have their org mid. I don't know what happened there. But the top teams were the locals. Between Kadzia, Anawala, Rock, Reds, Vicious. Basically the locals on top. They're playing very well. TRT Synergy kind of mix in throughout. We then break it down even further. So this is actually what went down Thursday. It's our top 16 double elimination, trying to find our top 8. The favorites were basically performing as expected. Kadzia and Rock were my 1-2. Sleeping with Reds, I know a lot of people were very, very excited to see them play. TRT was to be the expected better team over Synergy. Synergy just hasn't had those moments as much. 100 played, in my opinion, quite well. Although they had to, in this circumstance, bounce back. It was pretty scary for them. And they were able to do it. Dark, a very talented player. And then Awawa as the high seed coming through eventually. They got upset immediately. This was the one that was, again, what it is with 100 and going to game 5, nobody knows. On the other side as well, Vision and then Synergy making it through. So you basically had a grouping of, hey, the locals for the most part are going to be the dominant fashion, but in the like 4, 5, 6 area, I would expect to see Synergy and TRT. Because of those teams having the high seed, we did get to see what was, in my opinion, the premium matchup right out of the gate. And Rock showed like, you know what? Ghazi, I think it's Abdullah, and Twiz. Noticeable names if you aren't familiar. Ended up doing quite well and showing, hey, young mechanical talent. We found out that Nick, former GK, was helping them. In my opinion, this is going to be a team that if those 3 stick together and they have a coach long-term that can help build that structure and provide that refinement of let's take your talents and put them in the right place and utilize them the right way, they're going to be very, very dangerous. It's a team that I think should stick together and kind of go the snowman route and build for the long term. I think they're very talented and 100% could play upset to like a Twisted Minds, potentially. On the other side, Rock looked perfect. Rock was dominant. They perfect 6-0 in playoffs. Even in this, they only dropped 1 game to Infamous. So, like, Rock looking very, very good. On the lower side of things, we did see Synergy upset Awawa in a game 7. Very competitive series. Very low scoring, which is to be expected when you're playing with ping. And then Vision actually ends up beating 100. Outside of that, Vision then sweeps TRT. And then on the other side, Kazuya 4-2 Synergy. This then created some pretty interesting things. Obviously, socials are now pushing the narrative about how, hey, MENA defends their region. Hey, imports, go home. Hey, all this and that. We'll talk about that in a sec. That's where the drama comes into play. But Kazuya and Rock were the favorites over Sleeping and Vision. That was to be expected based upon the way things were going. I thought Vision was maybe going to put up a bit of a better fight, but I mean, you can only say so much negative when it's 2 OTs, 2-0 games. But holding Vision to 3 goals, I think, is very telling of how well Rock was playing. It felt like structure versus mechanics anytime it was Kazuya and Rock. I would watch Rock and I'd be like, yep, that's a system. That is spreading the field. That is making sure that we don't overlap. And then Kazuya is like, hey, bro, we've got 3 really cracked mechanical players that are basically playing ranked. This is a 6-man's team. Send it full house. We're going to basically whittle you down. Eventually, we're going to beat you with a counterattack or like 1 double flip reset, double touch or something, which ironically happened after I said it when I was doing a watch party with my chat. Like, Kazuya was like nonstop aggression, crazy mechanics, go, go, go all the time, solo plays. While Rock was system, structure, clean approach. So when they squared off again, you kind of got more of the same thing of, hey, Rock plays a very well-oiled machine type game. We're going to be in the right place. We're going to punish you, sustain our offense. We don't need it right now. We don't need to go above and beyond. And they closed it out. After all this went down, we then started to see some interesting things. Abdullah from Rock goes, hey, they won't qualify from their own region. So they tried to steal a spot from MENA. We locked the door, broke the key, and booked the flight. See you in Lyon, which kind of goes hard with the highlight edit. So again, the guy's very, very happy that they are defending their own region against the imports. And I want to provide a more level-headed conversation about this. I know obviously people want to hate. The thing I don't agree with is talks going and creating a bunch of drama. Why he is being defensive about a situation, I don't know. I'm sure he's getting tired of people talking poorly towards TRT and Synergy and stuff, and he wants to defend his ego and this and that. But we're going to talk about that last. The thing we can't talk about is now that Rock has confirmed their spot, they are with MENA from play-ins because of how well MENA played, do earn the #1 seed. They will be playing Foot, slot them in here in the bracket. They will be here in the bracket playing against Foot in the first rounds of the play-ins in Lyon. So that is how that will go. I would not be surprised if Rock actually plays a very close series and wins that. And then we'll play the winner of Gen G versus some mates. That's a good series. I don't know who's going to win that one. But to talk about more of the drama side of things, I'm going to play devil's advocate because I don't think anybody is. The grand scheme of things is Psyonix and Epic have decided that they want the best current teams to go to the play-in. They want that Cinderella story. They want that wild card atmosphere. Whether you agree with it or not, there is literally no rules stating that a team can go to a different region. They can go to a different spot if they think that's an easier route for a chance to make the world championship. By all means, there's no restrictions. Go ahead. I think they assumed and they knew that stuff like the TRT situation was going to happen. That is to no fault of TRT. That is to no fault of Synergy. That is no fault. Maybe it'll happen in SAM. Maybe it'll happen in NA. We don't know. But there is nothing in the rules stating that it is a problem. That being said, there is a certain level of respect given when you go into a different region. There's a certain level of humility you should find yourself in defeat. And that's where I think there is a problem. You can go and look at Razir's tweet and he goes, hey guys, and he posts the tweet of Shaq is like, on me, I apologize. I was not familiar with your game. And he pays respects to it. But for talks to basically say, haha, we were on 100 ping, that's the only reason we lost, you actively chose to play on 100 ping. That was your decision. You could have signed up for Europe, but the assumption is you're not good enough to beat Europe against the mates in NIP because you haven't been able to do it the entire season. You've been playing in MENA with Al-Qadzia and still weren't able to do it then. The issue I have is that, number one, Sosa is rating us in the middle of a stream. while we're recording a video. So much love to you, buddy. But the issue I have with the situation is you are actively choosing to put yourself in that situation. So for you to use it as an excuse feels kind of weird. The concern is like for you to not only do that and play defensive, even though you actively made that decision, but for you to go into chats, multiple, and say all that poorly worded things, call people out, disparage this and that because you lost, because it's an emotional reaction, and then to delete the tweets after is a little unhinged. I don't know what compels a person to do that other than a bruised ego, but self-reflect and realize this was your choice. You chose to play in MENA. You chose to play on high ping. You chose to do those things. The big thing I want to talk about, outside of the drama, outside of the silliness of all of that, the thing to me that matters the most is that Epic and Psyonix desperately for the 2026 season needs to put in region restrictions. 2/3 rule. You can have 2/3 local, 1 import when you sign up. During the trade window, if you want to bring in another one, that's fine. Play in a region for 1 guaranteed split. You play 3 regionals, you try to make the major. When you go into that trade window, that person is now considered a local to that region, and then that restriction gets removed or alleviated, however you want to say it. I think Epic really, and Blast in this particular case, really needs to put in those restrictions just to keep the integrity and the growth from those regions going. So I hope that happens. I'm very, very happy as an ultimate situation that Rock does defend, Kadzia defends, Vision and the rest of those guys do very, very well. And that MENA shows that they are strong and there is some depth there. I think MENA's got a very bright future, especially if they keep doing what they're doing with Falcons. And technically Twisted now, even though it is Nalpo +2 imports. So, I don't know. I think the future is bright. Rock and those guys, Kadzia, the Don roster iteration, very talented. I think we're going to still see MENA be competitive from like the 1 to like 5 range for quite a while. So, pretty exciting stuff. As a reminder as well, towards the tail end of this week, Sam LCQ's top 16 are going down. NA LCQs trying to find our top 32 and into our top 16 is going down as well. So this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, NA will be competing and trying to figure out going down from the like 100 that signed up down to 32 down to 16. So Sunday is Swiss for NA LCQs. I can tell you guys we'll be streaming it on this channel as well for our run with Carl. I've got a production team that'll cover it. So I'll update you guys more details about that later in the week. But as always, if you guys do enjoy the content, like, subscribe, notifications. Congrats to Team Rock. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.